Former Long Island Congressman George Santos is speaking out about his future after President Trump commuted his 7-year sentence on fraud and identity theft charges.
Fox 5's Jodi Goldberg went one-on-one with Santos today. She's live in Central Islip with more on the message that he is now sending. Jodi.
Bianca, Natasha, his story goes well before he was elected in 2022. At one point, he was one of Long Island's most notorious members of Congress. He's been preaching second chances since he got out of jail, and he says he can't rewrite the beginning of his story, but he can control how the next chapter unfolds, and only time will tell until we see how it goes.
I'm still kind of in a state of almost shock.
From confinement to commutation, George Santos is back home just days after President Trump signed the order that set him free. He agreed to a Zoom interview, and we spoke for almost 20 minutes.
I mailed it, and, it went public, so it worked.
Santos says it was a heartfelt written plea to Trump asking for a chance to rebuild his life. The president granted that wish, commuting the former disgraced congressman's 87-month sentence after just 12 weeks.
Thanks to President Trump's generosity, I can now go do something bigger with my life.
Santos, who pleaded guilty to fraud and identity theft charges from his 2022 congressional campaign, insists his short time behind bars changed him.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I disappointed you. I'm sorry I misled you and misrepresented myself in the past. But I can guarantee you one thing. I will work very hard to earn your trust and to prove myself a redeemed and changed man.
Inside prison, Santos says he kept a routine and tried to hold on to a sense of humor, even when it came to the food.
There was 2 decent meals in prison. Chicken patty sandwiches and then baked chicken quarters. Everything else was like right out of the can of Friskies cat food.
But all jokes aside, he says the time he spent in solitary confinement nearly broke him.
It was the most destructive mental health experience I've had.
Now he wants to turn that experience into purpose, pushing for prison reform and mentorship for at-risk youth.
I've stolen, I've cheated, I've lied, and I've gone to prison because of that. And I think it's very good to speak to youth so that they understand that that is not the path to walk on.
As part of his plea deal, Santos was ordered to pay nearly $374,000 in restitution, but repayment is not required in the order signed by Trump.
How do you start fresh without paying back these victims?
I can sit here and rehash all of this about campaign donations. I don't know how this is going to change the past. I want to do what's required of me in the law. I want to talk future. And I understand your question. As of right now, 4 days out of prison, I don't have an answer for you, Jodi.
Critics, including members of Congress, constituents, and those who say they were defrauded by Santos, argue his crimes deserved far more than 3 months.
At the time, did you think that you would end up in jail? Or did you think, maybe you'd fly under the radar?
I can't honestly answer that other than say I was so caught up in my own arrogance.
How will people know they could believe you now?
Measure me from my actions. Words are cheap. We've all learned that from politicians and public figures in the past. Just really measure my actions and just at least give me a shot. Everybody deserves a second chance.
And now Santos also tells me before his sentence was commuted, he was supposed to teach government 101 to inmates. Obviously, that didn't happen. And unlike a pardon, I just want to point out a commutation doesn't erase his conviction. As for restitution, it's unpaid, and only time will tell whether his private donors, those he duped, as well as those victims involved in his schemes, will seek legal action. That's the latest here. Jodi Goldberg, let's send it back to you.
Wow.